If you guys remember, last week we talked about the fact that the Attorney General of California was getting close, he said, to making a decision about whether or not to file a lawsuit to stop the merger of Paramount and Warner Brothers. And at that time, we went through the various different laws that they could apply to the situation in order to try to litigate this and get the merger stopped. Now, one of the things we talked about that is if they did do this, they might have to actually partner up with one or a few other states because the litigation would be big and it would be expensive. And to get another state or several other states involved would be beneficial to them. And take a look at this. This new report has just come out. Exclusive. U.S. states preparing a lawsuit to block Paramount acquisition of Warner Brothers, sources say, and it's California and New York. According to this story, California and New York are now teaming up to try to put a stop to this thing. This is what they wrote. California, New York, and other U.S. states are preparing a lawsuit to block Paramount-Skydance's $110 billion acquisition of Warner Brothers. Sources familiar with the matter told Reuters on Friday. The lawsuit is expected to be filed in the coming weeks. The sources said it was not immediately clear which other states would join the lawsuit, which would mark the boldest move yet by the states in their efforts to be at the forefront of U.S. antitrust enforcement. All right. This is a major thing. Now, the two main principles that they're going to go in front of a court and try to argue, and again, last week we talked about the specific laws, but generally in principle, they're going to try to be stopping a monopoly and a monopoly. The monopoly is something we all understand, right? It's when only a few people can, very limited number of sources can provide a service or a product, which gives the public less choice. That is a major thing in antitrust and a major thing that they'll be going after. But they're also going to be going after them on the grounds of monopoly, which we talked about last week as the opposite, which is you have a bunch of product providers, but very few buyers. And right now the studios exist as people who can hire unique talent and hire production companies and hire designers and hire whatever. And their argument is going to be by Warner Brothers taking over, or Paramount taking over Warner Brothers and consolidating one company, there are now even fewer purchasers of that talent and services provided by people in the industry. So they're going to go at it from both sides. The fact that it limits the amount of services being offered and the fact that it's going to limit the amount of buyers of particular services. And that's going to be their approach. And look, there is absolutely no way to guess how this is going to go. But states' attorneys generals have the authority to take things up in federal court where they can block it and take it into state court where it can be blocked. One of the things we talked about last week is I'm sure some of you are kind of wondering out loud right now is, oh, wait a minute. Disney was allowed to take over Fox. Yeah. And there was some pushback on that. So why is this situation any different? The situation is different because Disney already took over Fox. There's even fewer players in the game now than when Disney took over Fox. And now the situation is even more precarious. But here's where it gets really interesting for Paramount, Rob. This is where it could get expensive. Because in their purchase deal, Paramount, in their assurances to the shareholders, oh, no, we're going to be able to close this. Don't worry. They have a provision that if they don't close this deal by October, they got to start paying out the shareholders in penalty fees to the tune of $6.9 million a month. $6.9 million a month. And if this lawsuit proceeds, one of the first things that will probably happen, not absolutely, but probably, is some judge is going to implement an injunction saying, hey, Paramount Warner Brothers, you can't complete your deal. You might be able to complete your deal later, but until this legal proceeding is done, you cannot complete your deal. The legal procedure could take months and months and months and months and months, or very quickly. I mean, who knows? But this presents a problem for these guys. And you want to know something? I'm not saying this is going to happen. Okay. Let me be clear. I am not saying this is going to happen. But oh my God, the folks at Netflix might look like geniuses, because imagine this. Netflix enters into a deal with Warner Brothers to buy them. Warner Brothers puts up a $2.2 billion guarantee that the deal will go through. Paramount comes in and offered a better deal, but Paramount then had to write a check for $2.2 billion to Netflix for the breakup fee. Paramount had to pay Netflix $2.2 billion for nothing. So there's Ted Sarandos and the folks at Netflix holding this $2.2 billion check. Now, keep that little picture in your mind. Let's say this merger gets blocked. Not saying it will, but let's say it does. Let's say these states suing to stop this thing, and they delay the deal for months and months and months, costing Paramount more and more and more money. And at some point, it just looks like the deal's not going to go through. Okay. Netflix gets to keep the $2.2 billion. And then guess who gets to come in and buy Warner Brothers?
This guy.
This guy.
He's like, I told you this was mine.
That dude with the pointy finger. He's going to have a $2.2 billion check and probably a cheaper purchase price than what they were going to buy it for later. I'm speculating. I'm forecasting. That may not happen at all. I'm just saying.
I definitely thought the long game might go that way, though. He seemed a little too happy about it falling apart.
He seemed very okay.
Yeah.
With that, oh, okay, cool. I'll just take a free $2.2 billion, not million, billion, and we're probably going to still get to come in a year or two and still buy it with your money. Thank you very much. Now, again, Rob, there's a lot of things that have to happen here,
sure,
right? But this is a significant development in all this. And it's not just some small, it's California and it's New York, and probably from the sounds of this report, some other states are going to join in this lawsuit. Can they convince a judge? If they do, well, then it'll get appealed. Does it hold up in the appeal? If it doesn't, well, then maybe it goes on to the Supreme Court. And then what happens with the Supreme Court, where a bunch of the judges are already in Trump's pocket. And of course, Trump is in the Ellison's pocket. So, I mean, who knows? Who knows? There's a lot of different ways this could go. But it looks like at very minimum, it's going to be delayed. So again, I'm not sitting here telling you this whole thing's going to work, but it's interesting that it looks like the state.
Guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's video, Hims. You know, one of the hardest things about trying to lose weight is just figuring out what actually works, because we've seen them all. There are a million trends, diets, and gimmicks out there, and honestly, it can get overwhelming. And that's why weight loss by Hims really stands out. Hims now offers access to an affordable range of FDA-approved GLP-1 medications, including the Wegovy pill at its lowest price ever, and the Wegovy pen. With Wegovy at Hims, lose up to 20% or more of your body weight when combined with diet and exercise. It helps you regulate your appetite and eat less, so success is within reach. Plus, Wegovy is the first ever and only GLP-1 available in a pill for weight loss, so there are no needles needed. And the process is extremely convenient. Everything happens online. You connect with a licensed provider who determines if treatment is right for you, and if prescribed, your medication gets delivered right to your door. No insurance necessary. Ready to reach your goals? Visit hims.com/Campea to get a personalized, affordable plan that gets you. That's HIMS.com/Campea. hims.com/Campea. Based on advertised cash price for 30-day supply of medication only. Membership required, fee not included, and billed separately. Weight loss by Hims is not available in all 50 states. Wegovy is the registered trademark of Novo Nordisk AS. To get started and learn more, including important safety information, Wegovy clinical study information, and restrictions, visit hims.com.
This is, Rob, right now, the most significant threat to come up that poses a risk to this potential deal. Anyway, you saw the report. What's standing out to you right now?
Well, I mean, look, obviously they knew this was going to happen. They knew there was going to be some kind of pushback of some kind, that there was going to be some kind of regulatory hearings and all of this. And I would have thought that, knowing that they can't finance this without foreign money, that they were going to start to run into problems. It seems to me like I don't necessarily think this was a good idea in the first place. I've never liked this idea. And clearly, I guess, John, I guess I expected pushback, and we're getting it. I didn't think that New York and California would team up in a way to stop this, which is very interesting. Both production hubs, New York is also a big production hub, so is LA. And I just find that the Paramount deal always, once I knew how much money they had to get from foreign investment to make this happen, I was like, I don't know if this is such a great idea. So yeah. I don't know enough. I am no business whiz at all. So I can't speak eloquently like you can about how the business works. I just don't know enough about this and the legalities of it. You have a legal background. I don't. So I just don't know. But it seems to me like it wouldn't surprise me if this doesn't happen now.
It's going to be interesting. Now look, some people have posed the question to me, if we're worried about conglomeration and like mergers and stuff like that, why are you more okay with the Netflix taking over Warner Brothers than with Paramount taking over Warner Brothers? It's because of this. If Paramount and Warner Brothers merge, you are taking one of the major theatrical players off the market. You literally are losing one. Were Netflix to buy Warner Brothers, you are bringing a company into the theatrical business. Remember, Netflix is not a movie theater company. They're not a movie making company. They do not produce movies to go into theaters. They're about to have a couple, but I mean, generally speaking, they're a television streaming company. If they took over Warner Brothers, which I'm not for, by the way, I would rather Warner Brothers stay an independent company. I'm just saying, I have less problems with Netflix getting it because instead of taking one of the players off the board, it brings a new significant player into the game.
Yeah. They're basically a massive investor in an existing studio. They're not wiping the slate clean. They're not laying off 40,000 people. As a matter of fact, they just purchased those studios in Hollywood. That would just expand their studio space in Los Angeles.
Yeah. So it can actually be an expanding thing for the industry as a whole. Again, I would rather Warner Brothers stay independent, just be very clear. But that's one of the main reasons I have. There's other reasons too, but that's one of the main reasons I have fewer concerns about Netflix maybe buying Warner Brothers versus a Paramount. Or maybe after this whole mess, nobody buys it. Maybe Paramount gets stopped from purchasing it, and maybe Netflix just goes, nah, we're good with our $2 billion, thanks, and just stays out of it, and Warner Brothers stays independent, which honestly to me would be the best scenario. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this all transpires over the next little while. We'll keep our eyes on it with great interest. All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? California and New York, and apparently some other states that haven't been named yet as well, are going to be combining forces like Voltron and going after the merger of Paramount and Warner Brothers. Maybe it'll make progress. Maybe it won't. Maybe a year from now, we're looking at the done deal. Maybe a year from now, the deal's falling apart. Who knows? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show Podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.